What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. I'm your host, HT, aka Higher Thing, and with the Corner Show. On this show, I'll be going over videos that caught my interest, is going throughout the internet. So if you have a video that you find interesting or you want me to respond to, then just send us an email at Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. Chicago Black Delegation at gmail.com. Otherwise, leave a comment in the comment section. Again, whatever you find interesting, whatever you think that needs talked about within that pertains to the black community, leave it around, put it somewhere where I can see it, and then I'll make a reaction to it. Feel me? But otherwise, today we have a video that is directly from Nick Cannon's podcast, and he is actually interviewing Dr. Umar Johnson. Two very, very contentious, very interesting individuals. Both of them got themselves in some decent amount of trouble, to say the least. Dr. Umar Johnson, whom he describes himself as the Prince of Pan-Africanism, definitely a force to be reckoned with, and a very, very loud speaker within on the behalf of the black community. Unfortunately, a lot of people take great umbrage with Dr. Umar Johnson for the simple fact that there's some things that they feel as though that he has not kept hold of, mostly pertaining to the school that he planned and built. I mean, the school, the building itself is built, but there's no teachers there. The school is not open. So people are having a problem with that. If you talk to Dr. Umar Johnson about it directly, he would tell you, he would give you a narrative, that you can either buy or not, And Nick Cannon is, just Nick Cannon. He's definitely taking on. I mean, he's definitely a different Nick Cannon than what we kind of known coming up. He's definitely taking a lot of spiritual. He's definitely taking a very poignant spiritual path. And what he chooses to do is like how he decides to live his life and stuff like that. Having with the baby moms and all the kids and all that stuff, but one thing I will say is he is holding a pretty decent podcast, and it's black focused. It's here to uplift and empower the culture. Like I said, not to denigrate other cultures, but again, it's to inspire our own so that we can do better and that we can just be like less dangerous. To others and especially ourselves. So, but otherwise, let's get into it. Let's see what they're talking about.
Upon us is a strong black woman representing the Democratic
Then when
Party.
you say black woman,
Here you go.
I need you to qualify that. What
A
I'm
Howard
saying,
alumni.
whether she's black or not black ain't my biggest issue. Is what she going to do for black people.
I couldn't agree more with this sentiment. There's a lot of identity politics going on right now on both sides, obviously, and that is a huge problem in terms of respect for us as a culture. You know what I'm saying? I want to say definitely lately. I want to say very much less so last election, but especially this coming to this election, there's been a lot of conversation surrounding tangibles for Black Americans. Whether you're talking to FBAs led by Tariq Nasheed, or you want to talk about the advocacy or the reparations advocacy movements over in California, to the ones going on in Chicago, to the BLM folks, to the what I would believe one of the founders of this understanding. Well, online rather, the ADOS movement, and then folks that predated those stinkers, such as Dr. Clark Anderson and Malcolm X and Dr. King. You know what I'm saying? But people were definitely really pushing this agenda towards, again, tangibles for Black Americans, because it's tangibles that's what's necessary for our survival. You know what I'm saying? And for somebody to come in the office, not somebody, but for multiple people to come in the office and then placate this idea of somebody being black enough or black at all is not conducive towards the upliftment or empowerment of Black Americans. there's a lot to, I mean, there's quite a bit to unravel there. There's a lot of different narratives you can kind of spin from it. So that you got folks that choose to delineate with this movement, or when I say delineate, I'm talking about compartmentalize different types of blackness. So there's those that like the FBA movement, they more so want to deal with black folks that are foundational towards this nation's inception. So that comes by way of those who were descendants of slaves, and also those Native Americans that were already black, that were already here. This is their narrative. And then you have ADOS, who is somewhat similar, but they more so are identified with those descendants of slaves, so they don't really go into too far into the Native American politics or identity and stuff like that. And then and then many far and also in between. So like I said, but the central idea here is tangibles and stuff like that for like Black Americans. What are you actually doing for Black Americans? So this is probably what he's going to be getting into this video, but let's see what he says.
The reason Kamala's race has become such a big issue in this election, Brother Nick, is because it's the only thing they're selling the black community in exchange for their vote. Not a word about schools, not a word about prisons, not a word about gentrification. If she led with policy, Nick, I don't even think we would be talking about her racial ancestry. So how can Kamala Harris, the so-called black woman, say that I can't do anything just for black people, but you...
Which is... very, very interesting. Now, she did. I'm gonna bring this up too. Because there's been some talk regarding what she said on that Griot interview.
Do you support reparations for black people? Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the Lift Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen. The reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole in the country. Right?
Like I said, she I don't know why she hopped on the Breakfast Club trying to say, that's not what I said, or it was taken out of context, or that was Charlamagne the God actually. For her to say, for her to try to spin that narrative is pretty egregious and unfortunate, because this is somebody that so many people hold very dear and will defend to the death of him, which is pretty insane. Like I'm just saying, like Democrats, like come on guys, like if you guys really want to win these swing voters, you have to like become human. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to call out nonsense when you see it and not hesitate at it. If Kamala Harris makes a mistake, if Obama makes a mistake in the things that they say, then you have to, again, you got to be snappy with it. You can't hesitate. You can't try to make excuses and stuff like that. You have to be able to say, okay, hey, she did mess up here, right? She shouldn't have said this. This would have been a better thing to say. This is not what I believe. Like, you have to start off with, you have to lead off with that, right? And then if you want to make an appeal towards the other option, you want to talk about how bad Trump is as a leader, or how bad Trump is for Black Americans or Americans as a whole, then you can do that. But you have to segue the properly. You can't segue by saying, you can't just go straight to the segue. I mean, you can't go straight to the you can't just go straight to the transit. You can't go straight to the guess what Trump doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not gonna win over the people that are in the middle. You know what I'm saying? That can't decide between the two, or the folks that's voting green. You know what I'm saying? Or voting libertarian, or somewhere else on the political spectrum. You have to meet people where they are, and then you have to speak their language, and then entice them into voting for Kamala. But you're not gonna be able to do that by lying to them. You know what I'm saying? And once because the people, you may get over on them that day. Like, they may not be educated at that particular moment. But like me especially, I'm not the most educated on everything. But one thing I will say is, I will research something. If I hear something and it don't sound right, or whatever the case may be, I'm best to believe I'm gonna pull up my phone and I'm gonna check it out for myself later on, before I adopt what you're talking about. So, and I think a lot of people would do that as well. And once they found out that you were the liar, you lose credibility. You lose credibility not just for yourself, but also for the people that you represent. So again, if you wanna win over these middle ground people, or these folks, these undecided voters, you are gonna have transparent and honest and open conversations with these people, not lie to them. So.
You sat in the White House for 4 years with President Biden and watched him take care of specific groups of non-white people, and you didn't demand one thing for your own black people that you claim to be a part of. So the only thing they've given us has been identity politics.
Yeah, identity politics, and that's very unfortunate, and that's just what I said in the beginning of the video. This identity politics thing is a joke, and it's been a joke. It's been a long running joke for a long time, and I am very much appreciative of people like Dr. Claude Anderson, people like Dr. Sandy Darity, other economists that are pro reparations. I'm appreciative of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. And I'm definitely appreciative of all the Black Americans that are asking for the tangibles, that are asking for policies that's going to uplift and empower Black Americans, especially when we've been so loyal to the Democratic Party for so long. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at this. Let's look at the chart for a brief moment here. So as you see here, blue representing Democrats, red representing the GOP, aka Republicans, and dating back from 1936 all the way to 2004, and it's been the same ever since, I guarantee it. But Black Americans voted unanimously for Democrats since forever. It got a little bit closer in 1956. But it dropped soon right after in the next election, and then completely fell off in 1964, obviously due to the civil rights era. So, and then this, and it has been a very, very one-sided pattern ever since then. So yeah, that's pretty much like kind of what it is. Like, we've been so dedicated and so loyal to the Democratic Party for this entire time, and for them to respond in kind with identity politics after Obama, I don't know what to say here. It's just folks are ready for something a little bit more real and more substantial for our progress. Now Kamala Harris does want to push forth this pro-black man plan agenda or set of policies, and that sounds good. And we're gonna study that a little bit more in another video. But like I said, if that were to come out, and if that is legit, and there's arguments against it, right? Just like there was arguments against Donald Trump's platinum plan, then like, if it's legit, then it's great. Then that's something that we should consider for in terms of before we cast our ballots. So, But otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, this is definitely something everybody needs to like very study and really pay attention to for themselves and vote to the interests of themselves. But I will also argue to the best interests of their families as well. So just to give like a broad view of what's going on, Democratic policy will benefit the lower and middle class better than the Republican economic plans or Donald Trump's economic plans. So that's like a by and large idea. Now there's videos you can like scour the YouTube space to support that, but like by and large that's kind of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So take that for consideration. I would as far as what Donald Trump does, as far as counter arguing Kamala Harris's plans and stuff like that, and her legitimacy in running for presidency, he is basically trying to call her a liar. He's calling her a liar by way of well, let me show you. Yeah, see that? That's Donald Trump wearing a McDonald's uniform. This is not AI image. This actually literally just happened. You know what I'm saying? As a recording, as I'm recording this, it happened today. He worked for McDonald's for about 15 minutes and left because he said Kamala Harris lied about working for McDonald's. So this is a big plan to discredit Kamala Harris. And if this is good enough for you, then I don't know. So be it, I guess. What matters the most is the policies. Like these jokes and routines and comedy acts and stuff like that, identity politics, none of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is the policies. Is the policies favorable for you and your family, or is it not? So that's the higher thinking. With my opinion about this situation surrounding Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, Dr. Umar's opinion on Nick Cannon's podcast. Check Nick Cannon's podcast out. It is dope. I'll catch you on the flip side.